Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and today we are looking at Royal Marines sniper training. So, people have been to the channel before will know this, but full disclosure, I was not a sniper. I was, however, in the Canadian Armed Forces Special Service Force between 1987 to 1998. I was top shot in my battalion multiple years, and I was reconnaissance patrolman qualified. Never did the sniper training. Canadian sniper training only has a pass rate of approximately 60% or less. And when I was in, it was even less than that, to be honest. And 3 of the top 10 longest kills in the world, according to Wikipedia, are Canadian snipers. One was a JTF-2 fella, and 2 others were 3 PPCLI, I believe. So, and sniper training and everything that a sniper needs to do is essentially the same as reconnaissance patrolman, just a higher level of skill, training, and experience, basically. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what the British do. That's actually
13 weeks,
not bad, Cam.
3 modules, and just 2 attempts to get everything right is what commandos must complete to become a Royal Marine Scout sniper.
So a scout sniper, I'm not sure if that means anything different than an actual sniper. In the battalion, in 1RCR when I was there, we didn't have a sniper platoon. In fact, I don't even think we had a sniper section. I think we had a couple of snipers attached to recce platoon. And that was it. And I'm not even 100% sure that they were qualified as snipers. They might have been. If you were in 1RCR between 87 and 98 and you were a qualified sniper and attached to recce platoon as a sniper, let me know in the comments down below.
Perfecting long-range precision on the L115A3 sniper rifle in the marksmanship module. It's on to the next one, run by Commando Training Center Royal Marines. And module 2 is skills.
Yeah. Cam and concealment, stalking,
It's made
movement.
up of 4 parts: a mobile observation, a static observation, a map stance, and stalking. They do all of these every day over 7 days and need a 70% pass rate across the week on each of them to accomplish the skills phase.
That surprises me. I thought it would be higher.
Accuracy needed by a sniper doesn't just mean when taking a good shot. It's accuracy knowing your surroundings, exactly where you are, knowing your enemy's position, their pattern of life, what weapons they might have, which is what this skills phase develops.
Yeah, so interesting thing about recce, and snipers, I'm assuming snipers are really kind of concentrating on the manpower portion of this, but in our recce platoon, not only did you have to concentrate on the manpower, but you also had to concentrate on vehicle movement, types of vehicles, and what we would actually do, so we had an entire ORBAT for every military in existence at the time, and we had an order of battle. And basically what it did was it laid out for us, if you see certain vehicles, especially with the Soviets at the time, because they were kind of bad for this. If you saw a certain type of vehicle, a certain set of vehicles in a certain configuration, you could actually tell where in the order of battle or the order of march that they were. And we knew their doctrine so well, we could tell how long it would be, whether it was the vanguard or whether it was the main body, or, basically where they were. And you could tell how long it would be in order for the next phase to come. So you would know how much time you had to get ready. So yeah, the observation part of this, extremely important. In fact, theoretically more important than the actual shot, because the actual shot, although I got a couple of stories about snipers, good stories about snipers, but the actual shot is essentially just one shot, one kill. But being able to understand what it is that you're seeing and put the appropriate amount of focus on whatever it is that you're seeing is essential for the battalion, not just the sniper.
Because as a Royal Marine sniper, you may have to act quickly and carefully, firing from a helicopter as a maritime sniper.
Oh, that's
you could be
interesting.
deployed deep.
So I've never heard of firing from a helicopter before. I mean, I suppose it might be possible. That would be a tough shot.
Deep into enemy territory, relatively isolated from friendly troops. Here, the Royal Marines are practicing mobile observation. It starts with a sketch of the horizon. Getting paper and pens out may seem quite low-tech in the modern world.
We did exactly this back in 87.
But snipers may be in a situation where...
I took my reconnaissance course in the fall of 87, October, November, December of 1987. And we had to do... Well, everything I've seen so far, we had to do the same things, and one of the things we had to do was sketching. Pretty important, actually.
They can't use a device that has any signal the enemy might detect or intercept. Sketching what you can see can focus the mind, meaning you pay attention to the minutiae, which is key for this task. So I wouldn't usually be wearing this type of attire on Would Be Common, but I'm going to be part of the mobile observation test. So me and a few others will be in a scenario, and the snipers have to write down and log exactly what we're wearing, what we look like, and what we're doing.
Yeah, that's not uncommon at all. Putting
from about 250 meters, they use binoculars and a Leopold spotting scope to absorb and identify as much information as possible, as everything could be vital to understand whether the target is the correct one, and if and when the snipers could be needed. Intelligence gathering and retention is a crucial part of the role, and they're always on limited time.
You have 30 minutes to do your trace and your log. 30 minutes starts now.
They're logging everything they can remember and tracing movements of everything and everyone they could see.
Yeah, this is standard reconnaissance
on how much
procedure.
they get
Again,
right.
just take into the
Question one.
take into the next level.
Had stopped, what did he use his phone for?
On a mission in a hostile situation, they might be looking at the enemy's daily regimes and habits, so they know the exact time and place to strike.
Yeah, so for one of our final tests on the reconnaissance course, we were given a location, just a map grid. So we were in Petawawa for our final? Or were we in Borden? Can't remember. Might even have been in Ipperwash. But we were given a grid location, not Ipperwash, Meaford. We were given a grid location, and it was about, I'd say about 7 kilometers away. And we had to get from our location, we had to get to the grid location. We had to find our objective in that grid location. It wasn't exactly where we were told. We had to observe, we had to bring back specific pieces of information, and then we had to get out. And I think we had like a 3 or a 4 hour, maybe even a 5 hour time frame to get all this done. And all the while, the instructors were actually at the location that they had sent us to, and they were looking for us. So it was kind of the culmination of all of these skills, well, except marksmanship, obviously. But our cam and concealment, our stalking, our observation skills, and you could get as close or as far away as you wanted to, as long as you brought back the information that you needed to bring back and weren't seen. And if you missed a piece of information or you were seen, that's it, you failed. And that was just the reconnaissance course. That wasn't even the sniper course.
Snipers need to be able to rely on their own ability to recall all the small details. And it's not just when it comes to observing people and movement out in the open. Locating and identifying concealed weapons is paramount, as if you're a sniper trying to spot adversaries, you must assume someone is trying to spot you.
Yes. Yeah, that's another thing we did a lot of.
Here, different firearms and military kit are being hidden. Even from close up, I can't tell what they are. What's that?
That's a speed loader.
But it's from over 200 meters away the Royal Marines must
detect
them.
That has a clip of 10 rounds in it.
After sketching a panoramic of the large search area, they're looking for colour changes in the undergrowth and foliage, or perhaps a reflection from an unnatural object.
Reflections
and they must
are
be
bad,
meticulous.
give you away a lot.
Break the arcs down, create boxes, draw them on your panoramics, okay, and then use that when you scan and search. Again, try and scan and search right to left. If you've been on Leopold,
hold on.
I'd say...
So that's different. So, yeah, right to left. No, that's correct. Yeah. So you always, there's a reason for the right to left, right? You want to scan if you're looking for something. You want to scan in an unfamiliar pattern to your brain. So we read left to right, and our brain actually has a tendency to skip ahead. And if we're looking left to right and trying to find something, far more easy for you to miss something. Right to left forces your brain into a different pattern where it has to pay attention more. So that's why it's the right to left.
Max a minute and you're still debating whether it's an item or not, then it's probably not an item.
The Leopold scopes have times 12 to 40 magnification, and the binoculars have...
So we had spotting scopes. I can't remember what the power was. I'm thinking like 810 power? I'm not really sure. We had binoculars and we had spotting scopes. I can't remember what they were, but like I say, this is back in 87, right? So 30, what is that, 37 years ago? Oh my God, I'm old.
Times 8 magnification. It's one job finding the 5 items and 5 weapons that are hidden, but more is required.
Just under sort of half a grat right, around about waist height. Hey, what can we see?
The commandos have to know the type, caliber, and country of origin for each.
Wow, that's
really
good.
Evenly spaced out, like grooves almost. Sort of cuts it down to 2 items straight away when you look at that. The AR-15.
So that's a similar kind of a thing that we had to do, but we had to do it with vehicles. Now, I mean, we had to find weapons also, but I don't remember that we had to do country of origin on weapons. Definitely had to do it on vehicles. And when we were finding weapons or whether we were finding items, articles of clothing, garbage, pieces of garbage were important. And knowing anything that you could about those pieces of garbage, they were important. Cigarette butts were important if you found those. Yeah, it's amazing the level of detail that's important.
In the AR-180. These ones are like evenly spaced, whereas the AR-180 is like a T-shape.
T-shape. Everyone happy with that?
AR-15. .223 rem USA.
Overall, snipers need to commit to memory around 150 pieces of military equipment and armaments, so whatever battle space they're in, they know what they're up against. And when it comes to the battle space and exactly where you are is another requirement of the course.
Yes.
In the map stance, the Royal Marines must pinpoint their precise location with grid bearings. As you would imagine, they are tested to be incredibly accurate when it comes to detailed map reading and
That's
navigation.
interesting. We had to do all this by hand.
Expected from other Marines. Snipers might have to use the information to call in drones or rockets to try and defeat the enemy. They use the ground around them and features they can see to work out where they are. There's photos and aerials.
You not only have to work out where you are, and it's very important, actually, amazingly important to know where you are when you see something, to know where exactly where that is, if it's moving, if it's stationary. But if you're going to direct fire in or direct an assault in on that location, you can't be getting it wrong because, well, for a number of reasons. One, you're talking about the resources of, you know, company, battalion, that kind of a thing coming to bear. You're talking about the possibility that you could send your battalion to the wrong place. You could waste ammo, or you could waste the element of surprise. Like getting this stuff right the first time is vital.
Could be working from, maybe out of date and incorrect.
Question 5. What I require from you is an indication on the Leopold, a magnetic bearing, a distance in meters, and a plot on vertical 36. You have 10 minutes and your time starts now.
Yeah. Again, very important. Not only to pinpoint the location, but also, well, I mean, yes, to pinpoint the location. So then maybe you could call in fire. And that fire could be coming from a mortar platoon that is up to 5 kilometers away or 4.5 kilometers away. It could be coming from an artillery battery that's up to, I think, 18 kilometers away, or it could be coming from a ship at sea. It's amazing what you can actually get access to.
Snipers must be prepared for any eventuality and understand their surroundings, not just so they can know their specific position, but also so they can move across the terrain undetected if they need to. Last but not least on the skills phase.
So moving undetected, it requires cam and concealment, but it also requires understanding the ground and how to move in the ground. And every stalking exercise I was ever in, they used the mantra, be bold in the beginning. And basically what that meant is you can take more risks in the beginning than you can further on. As the further you get into this, the more cautious that you need to be, which means the slower that you're going to be moving, because otherwise you're going to get seen and you've got a deadline, you've got a timeline for everything that you're doing on these courses. So, you know, pressure mounting from everywhere.
Is stalking. Here they're putting on camouflage face paint and covering their ghillie suits with foliage. These are garments that can be made from several fabrics. A variety of twigs, leaves and plants can be attached so they blend in.
Yeah, so we used more a ghillie shawl than a ghillie suit. And it's basically just, actually, it almost looks like what these guys had. Basically, it's just literally just a shawl that you put over you. We've got a bunch of what's called scrim, permanent scrim attached to it. And then you augment that with foliage or something from around your immediate area. And then you have to update that scrim as you move. So if you move into a different terrain, you've got to change your scrim in order to ensure that you're not going to be seen.
Into the landscape, making snipers harder to spot.
Yeah, so this guy is up here, but I can only tell that because, well, to be honest, I think mostly I can tell that because I saw him earlier in the video. I think if I was looking at this and wasn't specifically looking for a sniper, I'd probably miss him.
In this part of the test and scenario, the Royal Marines have a set amount of time to move near an enemy area and take an accurate shot on target. The adversaries, in this case the course instructors, are in a zone the size of 2 football fields. In a fixed position using scopes and binoculars, they will be scouring the landscape looking for the snipers.
That's actually a smaller, the size of 2 football fields is actually a pretty small area for you to be doing stalking exercises in, and the smaller the area, the harder it is. So you pass that test, man. That's a good test.
Snipers begin their stalk from around 1.5 kilometers away. First, they must detect the target, then pinpoint a position they can shoot from and advance towards that location. There will be certain areas where they can't be seen by the enemy and can take more risks. But as they draw closer, it's slow, low, and methodical movements. Otherwise, they'll be spotted.
Freeze!
The enemy relay to the other instructors where they think they can see someone. Some are hunted down and given feedback.
Understand your distance, and then that will tell you how
careful you need to be. If you're at 400 or 500 metres, you can take more risks. But walking at the pace you were, and as soon as you came up too high, that was you. That's you pinged, okay? So just slow things down, get your map out, understand the distance
this isn't
from
the final
them,
test,
and then
obviously,
give yourself range.
And others make it to a final firing position, or FFP as it's known, without being detected, and take the shot.
So the interesting thing about snipers in use in a battalion, and I've seen this actually happen on exercise. We deployed 2 snipers once. We were in Meaford, and we were pulling back from the defensive position, and we deployed 2 snipers. The airborne, actually, Canadian Airborne Regiment was enemy force for us at this point. So we deployed 2 snipers, and we deployed them on one side of basically a ridge line with a valley in the middle, and the airborne was deployed against us, and they were on their way to come against us. And the snipers took out, I don't know, 3 or 4 of their people, and what that caused them to do was to stop their forward advance, stretch out in a battle line, and then advance basically in section attacks. And while they did that, the snipers pulled back another half a kilometer and waited again. And so the airborne guys had to section attack a half a kilometer or so until they realized there was nobody there anymore. And then they formed back up and they started moving more quickly again. And it was at that point that the snipers hit them again. And what they did is they significantly slowed the enemy's advance, and that gave the rest of the battalion time to move back to their secondary position and then create defensive positions for a defense in depth, basically. So snipers can be extremely effective both offensively and defensively, and as I was saying, for reconnaissance, because the reconnaissance that they can give is invaluable.
Just going up, 2, 3, down.
And to make sure the shot would be on target, the instructors hold up different symbols to make sure the sniper can see them and that their scope is set correctly.
White equal sign.
Yeah, so this is a dry
white
fire.
equal sign.
Choose correct.
The art of concealment, uncomfortable terrain and staying calm under pressure to be as precise as you can. These individual skills are rehearsed, honed and assessed. And then it's turned up a notch. It's dusk, the light is fading, and behind me they're gearing up for a nighttime stalk. Ooh. They'll be doing this in pairs, so a shooter and a spotter. Now,
so a nighttime stalk is actually arguably harder than a daytime stalk for a couple of reasons. One, there's night vision and there's infrared now. We had infrared when I was in, and we had night vision, but the night vision wasn't that great. We had what was called a starlight scope at the time. It was pretty good, but there's much better. And then we had the anti-armor platoon had their own night vision equipment, but Recce actually had what was called the Noddler, which was essentially it's a thermal imaging system. And then other than that, what we had was actually a sound detecting radar. Maybe it was sound detecting, maybe it wasn't. I can't remember. But it was a radar dish, and we would actually listen on this radar as it would sweep through. So wasn't the best detection equipment back then. Now, much better detection equipment. And then the other thing about nighttime stalks is sound travels much further at night. So you have to be far quieter at night, or it's much easier to get caught.
It may seem that under the cover of darkness that their task will be easier, but actually it brings up its own challenges. At night time, reference points are going to be harder to find. The objective is going to be trickier to pin down.
Well, that's true and it's not, right? If you're good at map and compass and judging distances, that shouldn't matter quite so much to you. Quite honestly, every single person on my recce course knew exactly where they were at all times. and they not only did they know where they are, like if you know where you're starting out from, and you know how to judge a bearing and how to judge distance, you can keep in your mind where you are on the map, and those reference points then just become clues for you to know that you're right about where you are. So, I mean, if you're good, the reference points aren't as much of a problem.
And their peripheral vision is lost because they'll be using night vision monocles. And you have to remember that the people that are looking for them are also going to be using thermal imaging and other night vision
thermal imaging,
optics
hard
to
to get
find
around.
them.
Very hard to get around.
On a deployment, they would usually be in pairs, so this gives them the opportunity to work as a team.
So in Recce, we worked in 3-man dets, not in pairs.
Have the same task as the daytime stalk, and once again, some are identified early.
I know judging distance make lies.
And others make it to the end.
Yeah, that's the way it works. That's why you have
Working
a
at
60%
night
pass
will
rate at
push
best.
them and must be second nature to Royal Marine Scout snipers. Overall, the skills module is a steep learning curve and encompasses more than just being a good shot with the sniper rifle. But of course, all the modules are inextricably linked, which is why commandos must pass them all, including the final one, the tactical module. Bryony Williams, Forces News, Woodbury Common, Devon.
Yeah, so that's really good skills. Really, really hard skills to learn. And from what I'm seeing here, the level of the skill level that you have to attain and the what you need to do to pass, probably more difficult than my reconnaissance course. And then obviously you've got the marksmanship on top of that. Now in my unit, so like I say, we only had a couple of snipers. So basically it was just somebody who was issued a sniper rifle. He may or may not have passed the sniper course. Again, I don't remember specifically who did or did not have the sniper course. Some good stuff. Honestly, with the exception of, so they've got the GPS now available to them. They've got much better night vision. They've got much better thermal imaging. But other than those, which to be honest, the GPS, I honestly don't like the use of the GPS because you need to understand where you are without a GPS, because if you're relying on a GPS and something goes wrong, you're screwed. But the night vision and the thermal imaging just makes your life so much harder now than it did when I was in. So yeah, all in all, pretty cool. Again, I don't know exactly what the snipers went through in Canada, but to be honest, this looks pretty similar to what I went through. So I would assume that it's very similar to what the Canadian snipers go through. And yeah, so that's it. Guys, if you like this video, please leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm. Drop a comment down below. I love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all on the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.